What's up, guys and girls? Back with another video. So in this video, I want to kind of not necessarily do a comparison, but I've seen a couple comments about Central Dispatch versus Super Dispatch. Saw one earlier from I'm gonna call you pennies or scraping. Um, that said I reinstated my authority and did flatbed for 3 years. Awesome, you reinstated. You did flatbed 3 years, so you got some experience in the game. That's good. And I'm waiting on these load boards like Central to contact me, not wanting to buy a trailer until I see if the loads are worth it. Wanting to stay local around Statesboro, Georgia. Does it take months for Central to contact you? And do they have more loads than Super Dispatch? So I'm going to answer your question in this as well. And I'm gonna do a separate video of Statesboro, because I think if I do it in this video, excuse me, I'm under the weather a little bit. This video may be a little bit too long. I saw another comment earlier from Tony Nims. He just got in the game. Remember your messages when you were sending them to me. So Tony's been in, he says, for 5 months. That's awesome. That's great. Definitely reached that 3 month threshold for beginning. And he put, I only use Super Dispatch. It's free to me, and I think Central Dispatch is great in the beginning, but once you get your customers and a few backhauls, Central Dispatch becomes a pricey load board. So I saw some other comments up here. I would have to go find them about Super Dispatch and Central Dispatch. So we're going to look at those, both of them now. It's going to be a short video. I just want to do a small comparison. So with Central, I already looked it up, which I could have found it up there, but I simply looked it up right here. Central has been established since 1999, right? If you want to read that, you can go up there and search that on Google, how long it's been established and so on and so on. And then if you look at Super Dispatch has been established since 2013. So, Central is going to be one of the oldest load boards that you can use for the vehicle market, which, in my opinion, I will go ahead and tell you, me right now, I would use Central Dispatch over Super Dispatch any day. And it's not because I don't like Super Dispatch, but I'll show you why as we kind of go through this video. So I pulled both of them up, Super and Central. Central, I believe they're still, I would have to look at it and see, I believe they're still $115. If they haven't gone up to $125 a month for carriers. And Super Dispatch, as Tony stated in his comment, that Super Dispatch is free. It is free, and the two are similar and the two are different. Central Dispatch is like the phone book of car hauling. Um, their primary purpose, is pretty much to exchange information. You can go up here, you can call these companies, you can book a car, they can dispatch it to you from a dispatch sheet on Central Dispatch, to kind of, I guess per se, keep up with a semi-management system. It's not a complete management system, but it's semi. But it's mainly meant to be kind of like a site for exchanging information, pretty much. In my opinion, it is. I mean, you can look up the different companies that are listed up here. They kind of, not kind of, but they verify that you have insurance. They verify that you're an active company, all that type of stuff. So if you're dealing with Central, you're dealing with, you should be dealing with people that have, like on the carrier side, the MC number, the DOT number, it kind of I don't want to say guarantees, but it kind of puts you in the mindset that, hey, you're dealing with some decent folks. You're not just dealing with a Joe Blow that doesn't have any paperwork, doesn't have any insurance, and so on and so on. So it's kind of puts your mind at ease, from the shipper side and from the carrier side, right? So then you look at Super Dispatch. Super Dispatch If you are just looking up the load board, it is free for you to do so. All you have to do is simply get signed up with them. And like Central, they do verify your insurance, make sure that your insurance is where it needs to be, make sure that you're an actual company, that you actually have authority, and so on and so on. So they kind of do both. I don't know which one is quicker to sign up with. With Central, I know Central, once you sign up with them, they're going to take at least a week or two before they get back to you, because what they told me when I originally signed up, is that they have so many people trying to get signed up with them. And, I imagine the department within itself is not, or the company within itself is not as huge as far as employees are concerned. I don't think they got thousands of employees. It's possible. I don't know how many employees they have, but I wouldn't think that they have that many. It could be 50, it could be 100, but I don't think they have thousands of employees that can just address the mass number of people that are attempting to get on Central. As far as looking into information, verifying insurances, and all this kind of stuff like that. Super Dispatch, I'm not sure about them. I'm sure they don't have a huge company either, because you start hiring all these folks, and you got to pay for it. You're kicking out more money, and it takes away from your bottom line eventually. So, Central, I think it took me about a week or two, and after a week, I actually started calling to try to see what was going on with it. So, if you um have already put in with Central, um what I would do, I would wait at least a week. If they haven't responded to me in a week, I would start calling, because I think they assign it to a specific representative to actually look you up, call you, and all that type of stuff, and verify your information. So if they haven't called you within a week, I probably will go ahead and start calling them. To let them know, hey, I filled out this application, and what they may do is actually send you over to the person that's responsible for it, and they may run you through it right then and there, to get you signed up, and to get you paid up and all that type of stuff. Super Dispatch, I think it's a very similar process, but again, with them, once you try to sign up with them, I'll wait a week, see if they contact me. If they don't, I'll contact them. It's kind of like when you put in for a job, you go ahead and start calling the manager to let them know, hey, I put in this application, do you, yeah, can you pull it? Can you look at it? Let them know, because if thousands of people are putting in information, and you're not calling in to check on it, to verify it or whatever, they're going to go with the apps as they come in, and so on and so on. So it's quite naturally the same with these people. So um, that's kind of the gist of it. I think I skipped the part with Super Dispatch. So with Super Dispatch, I think it is very similar again to Central. If I said this already, forgive me. But Super Dispatch also is a TMS system, right? Let me pull up one other. Um, mm, 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 mm. Come on, let's get over here. I do promote these folks as much as I can, because I love Ship.Cars. Um, Super Dispatch is similar to Ship.Cars. That's another load board you can use, right? But Super Dispatch is a TMS system. It's a management system for you to manage your company from the carrier side or from the broker side. Now, on Central, yeah, you do got history. If you go down here to dispatch to me and all that type of stuff like that, you can look up the vehicles that were actually dispatched to you. You can look all those different things up. To keep track of your history and so on and so on. They got a rating system on Central and so on and so on. But if you go to Super Dispatch, if you get down here into loads, which it obviously, I could go to it to see if somebody had sent me a load. But when it comes down to tracking, to drivers, and all that stuff like that, you're not going to be able to access that without actually paying for it. So Super offers the ability to actually manage your company. If you have drivers, if you're just a driver yourself, it offers you that ability. I think on Super also, On some of the lows that you might see, um, you can actually, I think they got some kind of pay thing set up where you can get what do you call it, super pay or something of that nature, which is like a quick type of pay, a guaranteed pay or something of that um range. Um, so Super Dispatch is a little different in that sense. As far as the load board side of things, it's kind of like the same. Ship.Cars, let me throw them in the mix real quick. Ship.Cars is very similar to Central, Super Dispatch, but Ship.Cars, I think, they're more newer on the scene than the other two. But with this, obviously, you can manage your loads and all that type of stuff. Hopefully, this will pop up. Let's see. All right, so you can manage your loads. It's an actual management system. And then the other side of that is they have the load board here as well, where it's a free load board for you. Ship.Cars, I love because like with Super Dispatch, you have to pay for the management side of things. With Ship.Cars does not charge carriers uh, as far as the management side of things. So you know, you can book loads up here and all that kind of stuff as well. Um, so when it comes down to it, what load board should you actually be using, right? Honestly, I think you should be using all of them. You shouldn't pick Central to use over Super Dispatch and Super Dispatch over Ship.Cars. Now, I understand in the beginning people have the mindset, that Central is expensive, $125 or so on its own, $115. I'm sorry, I think it is. But you're gonna have to spend money, as the old saying goes, to make money, right? Central Dispatch by far is probably going to be the best one for you to use when it comes down to the amount of loads that it have on it. But these other two, Super Dispatch and Ship.Cars, they both offer a different side versus Central Dispatch. They offer the TMS side of it, the management side of it. So the difference between Super Dispatch management system and the Ship.Cars management system is what? Ship.Cars is free for carriers, but Super Dispatch is going to charge both carrier and the shipper side of things. So, from a management system, I would tell you use Ship.Cars. It's an awesome system. It's great. Um, you know, from just the sense of a load board, Super Dispatch is free and Ship.Cars is free. Central, you do have to pay for it. I would use all three of them. I would get Central. I would sign on with Super Dispatch. I would sign on with Ship.Cars. I would sign on with as many load boards as I can that are free. But as far as a paid load board, I would definitely do Central Dispatch. We're going to look at just a few things here. I'm gonna use Statesboro as an example. From what's this? I think it was Pennies that put this up here. Where's it goes? Yeah, right here. So Statesboro, Georgia. Okay, so we're gonna use that one as just as a simple example. I already put it in here. I'm gonna throw it up here as well. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Think I misspelled that. There, Statesboro. Come on, thing. Y'all use go ahead and pop up too. What's going on with y'all? Is something going on with you? Did I spell it right? I may not have. Statesboro. I did. What is going on with Central tonight? Not Central, but Super. Not Super. Excuse me. Ship.Cars. They got a auto load, not an auto load feature. Oh, let me go here. I put it in the wrong thing. What am I thinking? All right, here we go. There we go. And I need to take this out. Do, 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 do. I know good well they ain't got no 300 and something listings out here. Oh yeah, okay, right, gotcha. That's how many listings they probably got on the site total. Okay, all right. So just an example, Super Dispatch. Let's see. All right, so you can see right here from the top active filters. Now I haven't put any filters in here as probably as far as the dollar amount or anything of that nature. On Central, they're pulling up 111 different things, right? And obviously you can see I don't have the filter. It's 51 cent there and so on and so on, which is embarrassing. Um, Statesboro is pulled up at here, all of them within a 50-mile radius. I don't have anything else up there. They're pulling up 15 loads. Then you go to Ship.Cars. Ship.Cars is pulling up 10 loads. Um, Again, with Central, Central has been around so long that so many people use Central. From your load your brokers to your car dealerships, shippers in general. Any most are going to be listed on Central Dispatch. Super Dispatch is, I don't want to say a newer company because they've been around since 2013, but they are newer in the game than Central Dispatch. And I think they are pushing to try to get there, but they're not actually there with Central yet as far as the amount of people that use them. Now, they don't charge the same thing that Central charges either. I think Super, last I checked, it was $55 to sign up to use their management system. But the other side of that is obviously they have the free load board, but they're still not as big as Central Dispatch. Not as of yet, because from the shipper side, I think they charge all shippers the same thing as Ship.Cars and Central, but Super Dispatch and Ship.Cars, they don't charge carriers to use the load board. Um, so let's put in let's try what, North Carolina. Do. We go there. Let's do North Carolina here. And then we're going to do it on Ship.Cars also. We'll do it by the state and see what difference we're going to get pulled up. So if you look at Central, not putting any of the categories or any of that stuff up there, uh, Central is pulling up 1,475 listings. Give me 1 second. If you look at Super Dispatch, uh, did it search? No, I may not have searched it. Super Dispatch is pulling up 161 listings, and if you look at Ship.Cars, they're pulling up 82. Now, on all three, they're going to have in-ops listed on all three. They might have enclosed cars listed on all three. You're going to run into this BS right here of 75 cent, 43 cent up there, 69 cent up there, 44 cent. You're going to run into that on all of them. To weed out the BS, let's go ahead and put a dollar in here. Where do you put it at? Under here, I think it's under advanced search. Payment terms, minimum per mile. We're gonna do $1, and the same thing up here. Per mile, $1. So if we go back now and look at it, you're looking at 300 listings on Central at least $1 per mile. You're looking at 67 on Super Dispatch, $1 per mile at least, and then you're looking at 21 on Ship.Cars at $1 per mile. Oh yes, this is this thing I said a while ago, Super Pay. I guess it's, I don't know if Super Dispatch is going to pay you that. I've never actually used it, or if the business is guaranteed to pay you within 5 days for doing this. But if you look at this right, you know, just looking at loads on the platform within itself, Central is going to beat it out every time. I don't care what I put in here, Central is going to always have more loads listed up here than Super Dispatch and Ship.Cars. I shouldn't say always, but it will now. You know, you look at this thing in 5 or 10 years, maybe that thing will be different, maybe it'll change. But right now, Central Dispatch, as far as the sheer amount of loads that's listed on it, Central Dispatch is going to beat it out every time. Um, simply again because they are the oldest. You know, when you're talking about getting a backhaul, you talk about cars. Everybody uses them from carriers that do flatbed, where they're primarily freight. Even they sign up with Central Dispatch because they know they can get a backhaul load. You guys out here that are pulling the land dog trailers, those different carriers like that, they will sign up with Central because they know they can get a backhaul load. If I can't get some regular freight, I can jump on Central. I can find something paying me some fuel back to the house. Or to the destination I need to go without having the deadhead. For those of you that are worried about the price, I wouldn't worry about the price on either per se. Now, if I have Central Dispatch, I'm not going to go pay for Super Dispatch. Definitely not going to do it because, again, Super is free for the low board portion of it. Central, they're going to charge, and they charge you a rate because of what they're bringing, the value that they're bringing to you. To be on Central, you're going to be able to find a vehicle one way or another because they have so many listings up there. Um, so simply because it's the oldest, they're going to have more stuff. Now, which lowboarder would I use? All three of them, no question about it. It makes no sense to just use Central if you can use, Super Dispatch. It makes no sense to just use Super Dispatch if you can use Ship.Cars. So I will use both. Now I will show you a difference here too. I want to see, can I find them real quick? One of your bigger companies, uh, Ready Logistics. That's another thing too, right? If you go ahead and sign up with these companies like Ready Logistics, Pre-owned, I think they just went to something like having their own. A few months ago, went to something like having their own low board. Assertis, Cars Arrive, the ABC auctions, those big companies like that, they got their own load boards, right? So, you might see it posted on Central, which is another reason I use Central, because you can go to Central if a service has something posted. 9 times out of 10, it's sitting on Central, where it alerts you where you don't have to go to 21 different load boards to look at what they got. You can simply go to Central, look at what they got, and then you can go to that load board specifically and book the load directly on that load board. But Assertus, Cars Arrive, don't think AM3 Freight does. ABC Auctions, Carpool, they may. I believe they had something like that. Um, you know, a new transport, they don't have a load board in particular, but they send you an email every morning with the loads that they have in the specific area that you normally take loads. United Roadway, they're going to have it. Um, Right Way, I think they have something similar to a load board, but I don't know if it's officially a load board. But Montway, they're gonna have their no, they don't have their own load board. They use Ship.Cars. So this is a perfect example. Montway, they can be found up here on Ship.Cars. They post on Ship and they post on Central, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I've ever seen Montway on Super Dispatch. Because another thing that these companies do, like Super Dispatch, is really pushing for these companies to actually exclusively list with them. Um, or for a certain amount of days, just have it posted on their website. And then, if it's not going within, let's say 5 days or something, then you go post it on Central. We're cool with that, right? But they try to get companies to exclusively list on their page before they post it on Central Dispatch. It's the same thing that Ship.Cars does for Montway. If you see some of the Montway lows, let me see if I can find one. Montway low right here, but it doesn't have it. Sometimes you'll see up here, it says exclusively listed on Ship.Cars, which means you're not going to find it on another load board. And if they can't get it moved off of here, then they are okay with them listing it on another load board. And probably what they're doing is giving them a discount to be able to do that. Um, so RC Logistics, right? RC Logistics, you're gonna find them. I think they're listed on Ship.Cars now too, if I'm not mistaken. But when RCG Logistics sends you the vehicle that that you're trying to carry, you're gonna have to have Super Dispatch because they're gonna dispatch it to you on Super Dispatch. If they're still using that as their primary management system, but you will find RCG Logistics listed on Central. You will find them listed, I think, on Ship.Cars. I think I've seen them on all three. Montway, you'll find them listed on Ship.Cars and you'll find them listed on Central, but I've never seen them on Super Dispatch. There was another company, let me see real quick, Guardian Auto Transport. They list if they're going to send you a load, it's going to come to you on Super Dispatch. Super Dispatch also has a app that you can use, and again, they are a management system. So these companies will use them because you have to take a certain amount of photos. The front left corner, right left corner, the front, the back left, back right, top of the vehicle, left side, right side. They're going to make you take a certain amount of photos, and it automatically goes to that carrier. At pickup, once you submit it, just in case you mess up the vehicle or something like that, there's a difference between pickup and drop off. The same thing with Ship.Cars. It's a great management system to be able to do all your BOLs, your pictures, and all that kind of stuff because they're both timestamped on both websites or on both apps. So that's why these companies will send it to you directly up there because Montway, if you get a load from Montway, they're going to send it to you on Ship.Cars. RC Logistics and Guardian Backlock Cars. Backlock Cars is another company you'll see on Super Dispatch right here. I guess they might have changed their name, but you'll see them on Super Dispatch, but you will not see them on Ship.Cars. You will see them on Central. But a lot of times they exclusively list on Ship, not Ship, but Super Dispatch for a little while, and then if it doesn't move, then they'll throw it on Central. So, you know, you keep hearing the word Central Dispatch. All of these companies they may use other load boards or these load boards because they're management systems, but the gist of it, they all are coming to Central Dispatch. Because they know that hey, we can find some carriers on Central Dispatch. Central Dispatch is going to have more shippers, more carriers listed with Central than Super Dispatch, then Ship.Cars. Central Dispatch is going to have more loads because they have more people and because they're the oldest. Again, Central Dispatch is like the phone book of connecting the car world right now. Again, because they are the oldest load board. Again, in maybe 5 or 10 years, that thing might change. You never know because what Super Dispatch and what Ship.Cars is offering, where you can have your loads and you can have your management system all in one place. That might tap the hat for Central eventually. I imagine down the line, if Central starts to lose business to these companies, then they will go ahead and have their own management system in place as well. Although they already have one that's similar to it, but it doesn't go full detail and full depth as these two companies right here does. Like with Central, you can't take pictures on Central and send it directly to the shipper. You can't get signed BOLs on Central. The only thing you can get off Central is a dispatch sheet. And of course, you can keep up with your history that way. Um, but like with Ship.Cars, before Ship.Cars, just an example, I was taking photos, obviously on my phone, had a memory card for it, but those photos take up a lot of storage. With Ship.Cars, you don't have to store anything on your phone. All you have to do is take pictures, they're timestamped, they are sent directly to that shipper where they get like an email of, hey, pickup is complete or something of that nature. They can go up there and they can look at the photos you've taken and so on and so on. Um, you know, it's just a management system within itself. It's all in one place. Your BOLs again. You don't have to have a paper bill because when I first got out there, I didn't know any better, man. I had a printer in the car with me, and even afterwards, I still carried a printer just in case you needed it. But I had BOLs. Matter of fact, when I first got started, I didn't have BOLs. I had nobody tell it to me until I got to Georgia, and I took a load from where did I take the load? I took a load from somewhere to Marietta. Nope, nope. I picked up a load in Marietta, and it was coming back to North Carolina. Nope, I'm wrong. I'm sorry because I met the guy in Marietta. So I picked up a load from somewhere, man, and I took it to Marietta, Georgia. I can't remember exactly where I picked it up from, but at first the guy really didn't want to give me a opportunity, but I talked to him. I let him know, hey man, I'm new to it. I'm not out here trying to mess up vehicles. I'm not a knucklehead. I come out of the law enforcement arena and so on and so on. Once I told him that, man, he was like, okay, well, you should be squared away then. You should have your knowledge about you and all this type of stuff like this. And he was like, I'm gonna try you. I'm gonna give you a try. But when I got to the location to drop the vehicle off, um, he was looking like, do you have a BOL and so on and so on. And, he paid me. It was COD. He was doing a management for a company moving their vehicles. But he was like, hey, man, in the future, man, you want to try to get you some BOLs and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I was like, okay, I got you, talk to him a little bit, got a little knowledge from him and so on and so on. So in the beginning, I didn't even have a BOL, so I was just transporting cars, and was out there enjoying myself, right? But, you start learning the management side of things where, hey, you can't just be out here taking cars, man. And of course, I was taking pictures then. I had enough sense to do that. But it's like, man, you got to have BOLs. You got to have paperwork. One, it comes down to professionalism. The other thing is it comes down to proving that you're picking up and dropping off these vehicles. So Ship.Cars offered that all in one location. So from a load board side of it, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on Central Dispatch. Yeah, again, you're paying some money, but you gotta put money out there in order to make money. And also, as I mentioned to Tony earlier, with the response, is there are certain business expenses that are deductible. And this is the business side of things where you need to actually do your homework on that. You need to get with a CPA or get on TurboTax, or which is where I file all my taxes, and I do it all on TurboTax. Um, you know, get with and they do offer CPAs yearly and so on and so on, but get with a CPA or start reading up and researching it yourself. Look into videos online, YouTube University, that are putting it out there, because you need to learn the different things that are deductible. Because if you're just filling out your taxes and putting up there that, hey, I went a certain amount of mile, I made a certain amount of money, and you don't claim any deductibles up there, you're screwing yourself right there in the first place. Now, if you are in the CDL arena, it's a little bit different. You have no choice, because you have to file IFTA stickers. And with IFTA, they want to know how many miles you ran. They want to know how much, many gallons you filled up. They want to know everything that they can find out about it, because they're going to charge you accordingly. And your if that you are putting on deductible on your what do you call it, your taxes, versus what you're filling out for whatever state you're in and so on and so on for the IRP office, they can compare those notes and so on and so on. But the thing I'm trying to say is, do your research, because you might be able to, like your clothes, that could be considered as a business deductible. If you're having to buy clothes while you're on the road, if you're having to buy pillows, buy sheets, food, while you're on the road, some of those things are deductible. It can save you some money when it comes down to paying your taxes. So that's something you need to look into. And one of those things, if I'm not mistaken, is the software that you're using. Load boards, they could be considered as a deductible on your taxes. So, look into that stuff, because I learned it the hard way. When I first got into business, and it wasn't in the trucking industry in particular, it was doing the Airbnbs, the vacation rentals that I do, per se. You know, I'm making all this money off of them. I got contractors coming in. They're paying $5,000 for a 2 bedroom, 3 bath, per month. They're staying for 6 months to a year at a time there. I'm caking, right? I got, at the time, I think I had 2 units listed or 4 units or something of that nature, man, and all of them are filled up. I mean, you talking 10, 20,000 coming in per month, whether it was short stays or long term stays, and it was more than 10, definitely. It was closer to the, you know, depending on what time of year it was, you're pushing 18, $20,000 a month, or 17 to 20,000 something just with 4 units, right? And it's like, dude, this money coming in, I'm saving it, man. I'm doing this with it, putting it away, and so on and so on. And at the end of the year, when I got ready to file taxes, guess what Uncle Sam did? He bent me over the pickle barrel and tore me out the frame. And it's like, bruh, what in the world, man? You know, the taxes I had to pay were so high. And it's like, I don't mean to make this a tax video, but it was a response that I put for Tony. But I learned that, and and talking to a mentor guy of mine, he told me, man, you got to spend money in business. You can't just hold you can't just hold money. Yeah, you need to save it, but we're taught all our lives what save, 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 save. That is true, but at the same time in business, you have to spend money to be able to keep money. Versus if I would have took and went out and bought a, let's say, a vehicle for the business, for the Airbnbs to pick people up from the airport, to provide transports from one location to the next while they're staying, that add that service to the Airbnb. You could have used that vehicle as a business expense, and now you don't have to pay as much taxes back because you spent a certain amount of money. Like a CPA, that's what they will tell you to do. Hey, you need to spend this amount of money before the year is over, and they'll tell you what you need to spend it on and what category you need to spend it on to be able to save your money if you have a good CPA. Otherwise, the government is going to take it from you anyway. So why not spend it to benefit your business versus having to give it to the government? Which you look at these larger companies, they know this, they understand this. They have people that do this type of stuff for them. They'll be able to tell them, hey, you have to spend this amount of money, which is why, you wonder why, these bigger companies are not paying huge loads in taxes. Another example of that is whether you're registered as an LLC, S corp, or C corp. As a corporation, as a corporation, something that you can do is, right, you can take your whole family out. Just an example, on a beach vacation in Jamaica. Have a business meeting. If your family is listed under your listings and so on and so on, you have a business meeting with your family. Uh, that's considered as a business trip. Something as simple as that. Yeah, it may be a little bit more in depth in it, but not much, right? Something like your children. There's a loophole within the tax. Whether you can pay your children $12,000 a year, I believe it's still $12,000 a year, and they don't have to file taxes, and you can still claim it as a deductible on your taxes. There's loopholes within the business laws that these bigger companies use to keep from having to pay all their money out, pay all their bread out to Uncle Sam. Whether you're a smaller company or a bigger company, you need to learn the same thing. So you definitely need to look into it. And I say that to say that Central, I wouldn't worry about the expense as long as I'm making money enough to be able to pay for it, because having Central Dispatch is going to pay for itself in the long run. So, in my opinion, it's definitely worth getting Central. It's worth signing up for Super Dispatch. It's worth signing up for Ship.Cars. So, if you want to know which one to use every one. In this game, use every resource that you have. If you know of some other free load boards, use them. Sign up with these companies directly, because all of these bigger companies have their own load boards. Again, Assertus, United Road, ABC Auctions, all of them have their own load boards. So definitely use all of them. Once you get signed up with them, use their load boards and still use Central, still use Super Dispatch, still use Ship.Cars. I can tell you an example of when I was in Florida one time where Central Dispatch went down for a whole day. And Super Dispatch, they took advantage of. They started sending emails out to all their users. Hey, Central is down, but we're still popping over here. So Central, although it's the biggest, it went down one day, but Super Dispatch was still moving, still working, so people could still get operated, people could still go. Now me, that was the beginning stages for me. I had Central Dispatch, but I was new to Super Dispatch, and I was new to the game in general. So that had me sitting for a whole day when Central went down. Had my poor little tink tink. Hey, um, so use every resource that you can. Again, as in another video, I would recommend that you go get you a dispatcher. If you can find a decent dispatcher, somebody that's going to be dedicated to you or dedicated to only a few companies. Now, if you got a dispatcher and they got 20 people to dispatch them for, don't operate with them, don't use them. There's no way they'll be able to keep up with all y'all at one time. They're going to have to get some help, some assistance, or something of that nature. All right. You know, so if you can find a decent dispatchers, and there are a lot of people out there that don't like dealing in cars, I try to find some out there, and a lot of them when you start saying, hey, you do the car hauling lot, and we don't mess with that, we just do freight. So if you can find a decent dispatcher, get you a dispatcher. That way, not only can you be looking up these loads, and a lot of people don't want to get a dispatcher because they feel like they're going to have to pay a dispatcher um, anywhere from 5 to 10%. That's taking money from me and so on and so on. But while you're driving down the road doing a 8 hour trip, 11 hour trip, you don't constantly have to be on your phone sitting there looking for a load. You got somebody that's sitting at a house, that's sitting in front of a load board, and when it pops up there, they're getting all the fresh loads. Because while you're out unloading a car, taking pictures of a vehicle, getting a document signed, if a hot load pops up there, that dispatcher is home looking at it. They can go ahead and call about it. You are busy, and you probably never know it was listed up there, or you'll get up there and see that it's listed. Oh, shoot, stop what I'm doing. I got a call. Next thing you know, they tell you, hey, this load is already gone. It's like, damn, excuse my French, but it makes a difference, man. So that 5 or 10% can make up itself in one or two loads that dispatcher actually sends out to you. And, let's say they were charging you 10%. If you made that dispatcher was able to get you rolling and keep you rolling for a whole week, and you made $5,000, it's not going to hurt for you to kick out 10% to them and pay them what, $500. That's a minute amount versus the headache that you'll have to deal with driving down the road, trying to find loads, looking at a load board. You're supposed to be paying attention to the road. You're doing everything. And, again, when I was out there, man, as hard as it was, um, you're looking for loads and all this kind of stuff like this, man. It's getting towards 12, 1 o'clock, boy. It's like, oh my God, this is crunch time here. You start getting nervous, man, because 5 o'clock, things start shutting down. Things ain't moving as much. So, if you got, again, a dispatcher at home looking up these loads for you, looking at all the stuff, they're constantly seeing the fresh stuff that is popping on, they can go ahead and book it for you and go ahead and let you know, hey, your next pickup is here. I know you're within this area, whatever like that. But again, you need a dispatcher that can be dedicated with you. You need a dispatcher that understands hours of operation. You need a dispatcher that knows you can only run 11 hours in a day. You need a dispatcher that knows about how many miles you can do per day. You need a dispatcher that knows your location and not try to book something that's 100 miles down the road when they could have booked something that was 10 miles down the road or 10 minutes down the road or whatever you want to call it. So I would recommend that you get that a dispatcher as well. I would recommend again that you use every load board to your advantage. I would recommend that you use every resource that you have to your advantage. And as Tony said in one of his comments, how long is this video? I got to get off here. I done been on a tangent. Jesus Christ. As Tony said, when you start getting dedicated customers or getting your own customers, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Not that you're trying to take out of the mouth of these brokers, but they're definitely taking out your mouth with every load that you do. A load might be paying you $2 a mile. That broker's still beating you over your head, more than likely, because they're most are out here. They're too greedy. They want all the money for themselves, and they're sitting in the office looking at a computer all day, and you're burning tires, oil, gas, or diesel, um, or gas, depending on what type of truck you have. You know, it's common sense. You know what I'm saying? You know that you shouldn't be getting as much money as the drivers should be making because they're the one that's out here killing themselves. That's sleeping in, um, 8-degree weather, or that's an extreme one. I was in freaking Illinois. Never again. But sleeping outside, man, uncomfortable, away from their wives, their children, and so on and so on. You shouldn't be making just as much as they are. That driver should be getting paid the most, which is why I started a brokerage, which is why I'm working on building up, to try to right some of those wrongs, man. Right now I'm doing a lot of local stuff in local areas and feeding some of the guys in the local areas, but it's growing and it's getting there. And once you get up here with the big boys, it's going to be on and popping. But you know, every load that you're taking, you should be trying to get a direct customer out of it. You're going to pick up this vehicle from a dealership, talk to that dealer, leave a business card. That's another expense you need to spend. Get you some business cards. Every load that you go to, take and drop off a business card to. Go inside, find out who is responsible for shipping these cars out, and leave them a card. Hey, man, especially if you're local, right? If these are your local people, go in there, leave a card, and let them know, hey, I operate in this area. If you, ever want to go direct, if you ever, need a car move, I'm available to you. Just call me, and we can set up arrangements or whatever you want to say to them. But you should be trying to get a direct shipper with every shipper that you go to. Um, Everybody ain't gonna say yeah. You're probably gonna get more no's than you are yes. But if you get one or two yeses, per day or per week or per month, guess what? That's a dedicated customer that you've added on to, a direct customer that you added on to your list. So if you can get direct customers, you definitely need to be trying to get direct customers with every load that you take out. It's definitely worth that. Um, but even with direct customers, I'm still going to be on Central. I'm still going to be on Super. Still going to be on Ship because again, you need to use every single resource that you can use in the game to keep your business afloat, to keep your business rolling, to keep operating and keep going. So I'm gonna get off this tangent. I definitely did not mean for this video to be this long, but I want to show you just a few differences between these load boards, and mainly Central Dispatch and Super Dispatch. But again, which one should you use? Every freaking one of them, man. Use it to your advantage. So that's kind of some of the differences. If you're looking for I think one asked which one has more loads. Central Dispatch is definitely going to have more loads simply because they're the oldest. These other two, Ship.Cars and Super Dispatch, both of them offer a management system that Central does not offer. So again, use all of it to your advantage, as much as you possibly can. Between these two, Super Dispatch and Ship.Cars, which management system would I use? I would definitely use Ship because it's free. It's an awesome system to use. Um, so I definitely understand the free and the paid thing, but when it comes to all of them, I would use all of them to my advantage. Central Dispatch, you definitely need to be listed up there. You definitely need to be signed up with them. Don't care what carrier you are, you need to be signed up with them because they offer more loads on their website. And that's more opportunities for you to pick between the vehicles that you're trying to get or to be able to match up loads and so on and so on. So use all of them. That's my advice to you. Use a dispatcher. That's some good advice. Every resource again that you can use it. All right, so too far with this video, too long rather. I didn't mean for it to be this long, I meant for it to be about 10 minutes, but when I get on a tangent, man, I can talk. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thank y'all for listening, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm about to do one for Statesboro, Georgia, to give pennies, and that's what I'm calling it, man. Not that you're making pennies, but it's easier to pronounce it. To give you an idea of what's in the Statesboro, Georgia area. So we'll go to that next, and we're gonna end that video right here. Catch y'all later.